So worksheet 4, which is based on types of oxide. So just quick brief out first and on the type of oxide. So if we have our periodic table and we do the zigzag line, which is here, so all of these here are metals and all of these here would be non-metals. So metals, they form basic oxide, means if you take a metal oxide like calcium oxide, magnesium oxide, copper oxide, and you mix with water, it results in an alkaline solution. That's why we call it basic oxide. And if you take the non-metals, which is on the right hand side of the stairs, they are non-metals, so they become non-metals dioxide. For example, carbon become carbon dioxide, phosphorus become phosphorus dioxide, nitrogen become nitrogen dioxide. And these ones, when you put in water, you mix them, it becomes an acidic solution. For example, carbon dioxide will become carbonic acid, nitrogen dioxide will become nitric acid, phosphorus dioxide will become phosphoric acid, so they become acid. That's why we call them acidic oxide. Then under the stairs, so here are the stairs, so under them you can have aluminium, germanium, but then we also have an exception of zinc, which is here. They are amphoteric oxide. So amphoteric oxide means they can act as both. They can act as acidic oxide and they can also act as a basic oxide. So let's say, for example, aluminium oxide, if you react it with an acid, it will behave as a basic oxide. Now, if you take aluminum oxide, react it with an alkali, it will react as an acid, like an acidic oxide. So this is what amphoteric means. So based on this, the whole worksheet is based on that simple explanation. So we can quickly go through the questions. So here it says element X and its oxide. So X is definitely a metal and it has to be basic. Then we come to that one. Which one is most likely to form an acidic oxide? Of course, acidic would be non-metal, so it would be after the zigzag line, which is on that side. But then there's two answers, C and D. But if you look at D, D is a noble gas, and noble gas does not react. So noble gas has nothing to do with the chemical reaction, so it can't be D, it has to be C. Question 3 is not a characteristic of a base. This is what we did last time. So a base will never react with a carbonate. It's the acid which reacts with a carbonate to form carbon dioxide. So this is not a characteristic of a base. Then question 4, carbon dioxide. Here it says carbon dioxide is an acidic oxide which reacts with calcium hydroxide. As you know, hydroxide is alkaline solution. Acid with alkaline solution, as you know, is neutralization. 5. Which reaction does not involve the formation of a base? So a base would be an oxide, a metal oxide or a metal hydroxide. As you can see here, we haven't got any oxide or hydroxide, so that would be not forming a base. 6. 5 elements have proton number 10, 12, 14, 16 and 18. So we can figure out from the periodic table like what the substances are. What are the proton number of the 3 elements that form oxides? Periodic table. So 12 is magnesium, 14 is silicon, and 16 is sulfur. 18 is argon. Argon has nothing to do with it. Argon is noble gas, so it can't be B. We can eliminate B and we can eliminate D. We are left with A and C. So what's the difference between A and C? Oh, one is 16, one is 14. So that's the only difference is one is 10 and one is, what is 10? Oh, 10 is neon. Neon again is a noble gas, so neon can't be involved in there. So if we remove 10 as well, we only are left with C. So yeah. So noble gas does not form any oxide. They are individually alone, they never react. That's why we call them noble gases. Properties of oxide of non-metal. Non-metals are acidic, so between A and B. And then non-metals, you know, you form covalent bonding, right? Because non-metals and non-metals, because oxide is oxygen, and then you take a non-metal like carbon, carbon and oxygen, they're both non-metals, so covalent bonding. So A. 8. Two oxides, X and Y, are added separately to dilute sulfuric acid and dilute sodium hydroxide. X reacts with dilute sulfuric acid. So if X reacts with sulfuric acid, X has to be a basic oxide. It can't be acid because acid does not react with acid. It has to be a basic oxide. So X should be basic. So between C and D. But Y does not. So Y can't be basic. Y has to be acidic. But let's confirm with the second sentence. Y reacts with aqueous sodium hydroxide. Yes, so Y has to be an acid. So Y acid here. Now we still have C and D as the possibilities of answers. What type of oxide are X and Y? Okay, so metallic oxide. So metals would be basic. So I would say if X is basic, so X would be metallic oxide. So it's a bit similar, metallic oxide and basic oxide, because metals are the ones which form the basic oxide. So that was slightly tricky, but yeah, if X is a basic oxide, then X should be metallic oxide because metals forms basic oxide. 9. The diagram shows one period of the periodic table. That's period 2 from my periodic table. Which two elements form acidic oxide? Of course, the one on the right hand side, but not including noble gases, not this one. So it has to be between C and F, and oxygen is already oxygen. So carbon and nitrogen, yeah. 10. Which statement about oxide is correct? A solution of magnesium oxide has a pH less than 7. Less than 7 is acidic. This is a basic oxide. It can't be acidic. It has to be greater than 7 because it's basic oxide. Sulfur dioxide is acidic because it's a non-metal. If it is acidic, it can't have a pH which is greater than 7. It has to be less than 7. So C, magnesium oxide, which is a basic oxide, will react with an acidic solution to make a salt, of course, and water. So that's correct. Let's try D. Sulfur dioxide is an acid. Hydrochloric is an acid. Acid and acid don't react, so it doesn't work. So C as an answer. Then 11. Only two elements are liquid at 20 degrees Celsius. One of these are shiny and conduct electricity. So I would say this is a metal. This suggests that this element is a metal, and when it is a metal, it will be basic oxide. Oxide X is a solution with pH 4, so that's acidic. So X will be acid. If it is acid, it will be non-metals. So here and here. Then Y forms a solution that universal indicator turns blue. Blue means it's a basic oxide. Basic oxide would be the metals which form it. So then answer C. Which part is acidic? Again, C, can't be D because D is a noble gas and it has to be a non-metal. 14. Which describe whether an amphoteric acid reacts with an acid and a base. Yeah, amphoteric acid, this is what I mentioned earlier. They have both characteristics of an acidic oxide and a basic oxide, so they can react with both. So yes and yes. 15. Which oxide is amphoteric? Remember, under the stairs, aluminum, germanium, and the exception is zinc, which is not under the zigzag. Yeah, so aluminum oxide. And you will also know because calcium is basic, carbon monoxide. Oh, carbon monoxide, by the way, is neutral. So it's neither acidic, no basic, no amphoteric. It's just neutral. Okay? Just remember this because I've seen this question somewhere. And sodium oxide is basic. 16. The reaction is 4 substances for oxide. So W reacts with hydrochloric acid. So W should be basic. W basic. Oh, there's only one answer here. So from the first one, we can confirm that the answer is D, but then you can double check again. Let's say, for example, here it says Y should be neutral. Let's check. Y does not react with either hydrochloric acid or sodium hydroxide. So yeah, it should be neutral. So sometimes you read, like there's so many to read, you read one and you can figure out the answer, but then always double check with the third one and fifth statement, for example. 17. Which will describe the type? So magnesium will be basic, phosphorus is a non-metal, so it should be acidic, chlorine is again non-metal, it should be acidic. Element R, Q and R both burn in air. The oxide formed both dissolved in water. The solution of oxide formed from Q turns, so that should be acid. Q should be an acidic oxide, so it should be a non-metal. And from all of these, we can have A and D as an answer. And then if we look at R, it turns the indicator blue, means it's an alkaline solution which is formed. Alkaline solution formed from basic oxide are metals. So it can't be sulfur, it has to be then sodium. So answer is D. Which oxide produces a solution of pH between 1 and 7 when react with water? So between pH 1 and 7, they are acidic. So if they're acidic oxide, then it has to be non-metals. And it's only B then. 20. Oxide 1 reacts with both acid and alkali, so that should be amphoteric. So between A and B. Oxide 2 reacts with acid, so it has to be a base. We got the answer already, it's B. And then you can double check 3 and 4. 21. Oh, there's explanation if you want to have a look. You can pause it and read it. 21. Which oxide dissolved from basic? It has to be metal, and this is the only metal. 22. Which oxide is suitable for treating acidic soil? So to treat an acidic soil, you have to have the opposite, which is a basic oxide. You want to neutralize the soil by adding the opposite of it. So if you're treating acidic, you need a basic. A basic would be only calcium, because a basic should be a metal oxide, not a non-metal like these ones. It's one of the requirements, you need to know about this, so remember. In the syllabus it says, what do you need, what is required to treat acidic soil? You need to remember, it's calcium oxide. Remember that, it says here. 23. Okay, so which ion in slaked lime? Slaked lime is calcium oxide. No, sorry, it's calcium hydroxide. Yeah. Neutralizes the acid in the soil. Anyway, even if you didn't know about all of these things, it says neutralizes acid. Acid is H+. Neutralizes H+ is OH-. It has to be this answer. Okay, even if you didn't understand, it's like slake, lime, ions, whatever the story is about, remember, acid is H+, and to neutralize a H+, we need OH-. If we have OH-, if we want to neutralize it, we need H+. Just remember this. 24. If former wrongly added two substances at the same time, they react to form a gas, which time it must be blue. So that's basic. That's should be what are the two substances? So if they react two things together and then something which is blue is coming out. We learn about ammonia gas coming out when you have sodium hydroxide reacting with ammonium compound. So it has to be this one, because sodium hydroxide is a basic oxide and ammonium salt. When they react, they form ammonia gas. We did this in the worksheet 2, 3. There was many questions on that. 25. Zinc oxide is amphoteric. Okay, so they can react with both. So react with both acid and alkaline solution. Aluminum oxide is amphoteric. We did it earlier under the stairs. Remember, it's that one. Which again, aluminum oxide, same question, but just using formulas. and you're very used to formulas, so that should be okay. 28. Element W and X are metals, the element Y are non-metals, and so on and so on. So if X and so W and X should be basic oxide, Y and Z should be acidic oxide. Let's check the last question, the last answer. The solution of the oxides of element Z fizzes when powdered magnesium is added. So magnesium, one second. Let's start with A. A solution of oxide of element W turns red litmus paper blue to red. W, where's W? W is a metal, it's basic. Basic is alkaline, should turn blue. So that's incorrect. Solution of this fizzes with sodium carbonate if added. X. So if we have sodium carbonate, we need an acid to make it fizz. So carbon dioxide is liberated. But X, is it acid? Let's see. No, X is a basic because it's a metal, so it can't be B. The solution of the oxide of Y has a greater pH of 7. Y should be basic to have a pH greater than 7. But Y is a non-metal, so it should be acidic. Can't be right. So this is the only answer. Let's double check this one. If we add magnesium to Z, it fizzes. Means the magnesium, the only one we know when we have a metal, when add acid to it, it forms hydrogen gas, and that's why it says fizzes. So magnesium has to react with an acid, which is Z. What is Z? Z is an acid because non-metals form acidic oxide, right? That's why. 29. What is the type of beryllium oxide? It says beryllium oxide reacts with both sulfuric and sodium hydroxide. Also, we have another one. So beryllium is also amphoteric. Okay, so this is another exception. So when the exception is not very obvious, they will let you know about it. Like this question here is saying to you, beryllium can react with both, so it has to be amphoteric. And then 30, element E forms an alloy, should be metal. Has a basic oxide, should be a metal. Is below hydrogen in the reactivity series. So then you have to do the reactivity series. Popular scientists can make a zoo in low countryside. But then if you want to add hydrogen in the list, which is not a metal, but it helps you figure out where they are. So popular scientists can make a zoo in low. The opposite of low is high, which is hydrogen. In low, high, countryside, country, C is copper, and side S is silver. So it has to be copper or silver, which is copper here. There it is, here. Popular scientists can make a zoo in low countryside. So if you want to add carbon and hydrogen, which are not metals, should not be in the list, but they help you figure out something else, you can actually here add it. A cool zoo, low, high, countryside, high. So you can see copper is below hydrogen here. They're very like unreactive kind of. And that's it.